Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is directed by J.A. Bayona and is the sequel to, well, Jurassic World, which is a film that I know a lot of people didn't like, but I had a lot of fun with that film, and I think that it's, pretty competently put together. It's not perfect, but it does have its moments, and, I think it's a pretty good film overall, and so I was excited for that reason to see Fallen Kingdom, and also because J.A. Bayona is directing this film, and I think that J.A. Bayona is a filmmaker who has proved countless of times now that he's an incredibly creative director and he knows what he's doing behind the camera. And after having seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, yeah, J.A. Bayona is by far the best thing about this film. I would say that Bayona brings the same level of visual and stylistic creativeness to this film that was on display in his previous films, and overall I would say that the best things about this film were the technical aspects of it, whether it's the incredible cinematography. I mean, this film has some of the best, most beautiful shots I've seen so far this year, and there's this one in particular, no spoilers, of the Indoraptor. You'll know it when you see it. It is probably one of, if not the best looking shot I've seen all year. The score by Michael Giacchino is really, really just on point. I think that Michael Giacchino is kind of like nowadays sort of the go-to guy for these big Hollywood blockbusters. I mean, it used to be Hans Zimmer, but Hans Zimmer kind of moved away from that after all of his work with Zack Snyder. And then now it's kind of Michael Giacchino's turn to shine, and he really gives it all. I think that he brings so much to the film from his score. But as a fan of the classic Jurassic Park, I would like to have heard a little bit more of the John Williams score, but that's just me. The combination of practical effects and CGI here is also incredibly seamless. But again, J.A. Bayona really does elevate the material. I think he's working with a script that's very meh, and he really does a good job of elevating the material, like I just said. I mean, the opening scene is, I think, the closest we've ever gotten to the same level of awesomeness that was the original Jurassic Park. The opening scene, a lot of people I know have talked about in their reviews, and I'm going to talk about it as well. It's one of the best opening scenes so far this year, and I think it really captures the spirit of Spielberg's original film. It's just a shame that the rest of the film really does struggle to live up to this opening scene, because it was quite a disappointing film, to be honest. I guess I could say that in many ways I feel the same way about this film that I felt about Solo, is that, it's a really competently put together film and it looks nice and the acting is good, but it doesn't do much more than that. I think it plays it quite safe for the most part, and I'll talk about it more in just a bit, but I would say that on the whole, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a film that doesn't really do anything new. It doesn't offer anything new to the genre, and it doesn't really do anything new for the franchise. It's just kind of there, and it has some nice action scenes, and that's about it, I would say that the first half of this film, like after that opening scene, the first half of the film where they're going to the island and rescuing all the dinosaurs was kind of dead. I was just bored, and there was like one good action scene. Like, it's a well put together action scene. It's all right. But then after that, when they go off the island and all the rest of the film happens, I would say that this is really when it starts to get a little bit better, and you get to see more of what J.A. Bayona has to offer as a filmmaker. The second half of this film for me was definitely better, but at the same time, because the second half of the film is slightly more self-contained, you don't get that sort of epic, fun, magical feel that the first one had to offer. I think that one of the things, though, that this film did quite well was that it was able to recognize and appreciate that the first film wasn't just all fun and entertainment and spectacular, dinosaurs. That the first film was actually quite scary, and there were some pretty intense moments. And I think that that's what this film does best. It's those intense, almost horror-esque moments, and those are the moments that I thought were really effective. But overall, I would say again that this is a bit of a disappointment. Let's talk about some of the acting, though, because the acting here is good, but the characters, not so much. Chris Pratt in this film is really good, but his character doesn't change. There's no growth, there's no progression. His character at the beginning of the film is exactly the same as his character at the end of the film. There's no sense of progression, like I said. The same applies to Bryce Dallas Howard's character, who, ever since the first film, I've always had this thought that her character wasn't very interestingly written. She was kind of only there to further the plot, but because Bryce Dallas Howard is a pretty good actor, she manages to, just like Chris Pratt, really sort of elevate the material and make her character watchable, which is good. You have Rafe Spall, who, can I just say that it's so satisfying to see a guy called Rafe, whose name is actually spelt Rafe? Like Rafe Fiennes, his name is Ralph. It's spelled R-A-L-P-H, right? That's Ralph. It's not Rafe, but anyway. And Toby Jones is in this film as well, and he's pretty fun to watch. I think he's having a bit of fun. And I know that a lot of people have been complaining about some of the human villains in this film, but for me, since the very beginning, these villains have only been so that they can do stupid shit and then get the dinosaurs to really shine. That's always been what the human villains in the Jurassic films were to me. And here we get to see the dinosaurs really shine, which is one of the big improvements from Jurassic World was, we get to see a lot more dinosaurs as opposed to just Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. And there are some decent moments and there are some pretty emotional moments. But on the whole, I would say that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was a bit of a disappointment. I would say that the film doesn't have too many problems in terms of its structure or in terms of the story or anything, but it just wasn't very remarkable. It was fine. The first opening scene was great, but aside from that opening scene, there wasn't anything too memorable about this film. Oh wait, look, there is this one this is like my biggest problem by far. I forgot to talk about this. There's this one thing that's like this plot twist reveal that like comes around like towards the end of the film, and it's this huge life-changing, world-changing piece of information, and then they say it and then they just leave it. So like when Darth Vader tells Luke that I'm your father and everything, it's a big moment and it comes at the end of this huge fight. Imagine that Luke finds out halfway through like a hologram recording or something that Darth Vader's his dad, and then they just leave it and they never address it ever again. That's exactly how this piece of information felt to me, and it was really, really stupid, and I didn't like the way they were handled. And oh shit, yeah, Jeff Goldblum is in this film. I mean, he's barely in the film. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a B-. So overall, yeah, this film is a pretty competently well made, and it's a nice film, and I'm probably gonna see it at least one more time before the end of the year. But it is just kind of meh. There are some nice moments, but overall it's very just meh. So that was my review for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, guys. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. Thank you.